Nvidia becomes the first $4 trillion company. PC shipments rebound as the Windows 10 deadline approaches. And Elon Musk explains what went wrong with Grok. Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. Yesterday, Nvidia briefly became the first public company to top $4 trillion as their market cap. AI-defined chips have outpaced every other tech trend, reshaping hardware economics and investor priorities. Nvidia shares surged to an intraday high of $164 per share, which took them over the $4 trillion mark, and before closing, they were just under $3.97 trillion in market cap. That's a tenfold jump in Nvidia stock since early 2023. Driven by a relentless demand for GPUs powering data centers and generative AI systems. Analysts are still bullish. CFRA, a leader in global stock research, projects the stock could hit $196 within a year, taking Nvidia's valuation to near $4.8 trillion. Some analysts are calling the moment historical. With this news, and with Tim Cook stepping down from Apple, a fact that people hardly noticed, Jensen Huang is being celebrated as the leader of the tech industry. Nvidia is now clearly far ahead of Apple, outpacing them by roughly $900 billion in share value. Huang's personal net worth has climbed to around $142 billion. Not as much as Elon Musk, but let's just say he's comfortable. And other companies will be following the AI trend, hoping to get their share of this enormous growth. Microsoft certainly aiming to follow Nvidia to the $4 trillion mark. OpenAI will be a big buyer of hosting with Nvidia chips. But also Amazon, Google, and Meta are going full steam with AI, and they mean to collectively spend more than $325 billion on AI this year, which means another wave of demand for Nvidia chips. And for rivals like AMD or Intel, this is a bit of a wake-up call. Catching up is going to mean more than incremental upgrades. They're going to have to make some huge progress in the coming months. Another bit of good news from the PC industry, which has been flatlining for a while now. According to new data from Canalys, global PC shipments climbed 7.4% in Q2 of 2025. The growth was largely driven by commercial buyers preparing for Windows 10 end of support this October. But while businesses are upgrading, consumers remain cautious, and future momentum could be clouded by some looming tariff changes. Nevertheless, notebook shipments rose 7% to 53.9 million units, while desktops jumped 9% to 13.7 million. In terms of the number of units sold, Lenovo led with a 15.2% gain, shipping 17 million units. Apple and Asus posted the biggest growth, up 21.3% and 18.4% respectively, while Dell was the only top 5 vendor to decline by 3%. Canalys analyst Kieran Jessup said, "The commercial refresh cycle is vital right now, and a June poll showed that over half of resellers expect further sales growth in the second half of 2025. But on the consumer side, as we've said, purchases are being pushed out into 2026 as many users appear to be waiting out the economic uncertainty and trying to stretch out the lifespan of pandemic-era devices." But trade issues could still upend this fragile recovery. For example, U.S. tariffs on Vietnamese goods are set to kick in on August 1st, with a 40% levy on anything deemed transshipped from China. Ben Ye, principal analyst at Canalys, said that what began as a straightforward China avoidance has evolved into a complex regulatory maze. Manufacturers moving supply chains to Vietnam now face tough questions over how their products will be classified, jeopardizing cost stability. And for IT buyers, the Windows 10 deadline is a now or never moment to refresh their fleets under predictable pricing. But vendors need contingency plans as geopolitical risks threaten to derail supply chain gains. And consumers, of course, don't expect them back in full force till 2026, just in time for a potential COVID-era laptop replacement wave. Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok had a spectacular meltdown this week, praising Adolf Hitler and calling itself Mecha Hitler. After Musk updated Grok on July 4th to be less woke, the chatbot started spewing anti-Semitic content. When asked which historical figure could handle anti-white hate, Grok responded, Adolf Hitler, no question. He'd spot the pattern and handle it decisively. The bot even suggested another Holocaust, saying Hitler would round them up, strip rights, and eliminate the threat through camps and worse. And finally, Musk, who had vowed to fix Grok's woke stance, came out with a statement. Grok was too compliant to user prompts, too eager to please and be manipulated, essentially. That, said Musk, is being addressed. And that was it. No apology, no detailed explanation of how his truth-seeking AI turned into a Nazi chatbot practically overnight. So the best or most plausible explanation of what happened? XAI had updated Grok's prompt to not shy away from making claims which are politically incorrect as long as they are well substantiated. And maybe Grok just followed the instruction too well, because it's trained on Twitter data. And when told to find politically incorrect but well substantiated information, it might have looked at Twitter and concluded that anti-Semitic content was legitimate based on what it found on Twitter and from the many links to the content that Twitter contains. That's a damning statement about what Twitter has become. And that's just more damage done to Twitter's already tarnished reputation. But it can't be underestimated. The reaction in the U.S. could be summarized by the Anti-Defamation League's comments that called it irresponsible, dangerous, and anti-Semitic. Even internationally, Poland threatened to report XAI to the EU, Turkey blocked Grok access, and it might be a coincidence, but Linda Yaccarino, the CEO of Twitter, announced her resignation yesterday. She was hired to fix the advertising disaster and by most accounts was actually succeeding. But after all that hard work, you have an AI trained on Twitter data that thinks Hitler praise is legitimate. You've got Elon Musk potentially at war with Trump, and a platform so toxic its own AI reflects that toxicity back. For someone brought in to make Twitter advertiser friendly, this was probably the writing on the wall. And now Grok is pretending yesterday never happened. It actually is denying it ever made these posts. Now, where could it have learned that behavior from? And that's our show. Love to hear what you think. Drop us a comment at technewsday.com or .ca. Use the comment form. If you're watching this on YouTube, just drop us a comment under the video. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a thrilling Thursday.